What's up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music for the first time, and today is a debut and a very interesting video that I'm very much looking forward to. These are requested by Biosleeve and Tetsujin. Thank you very much. This is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. We have the main theme from the channel Ivan Crane, and then we have Love Detterence from the channel The Kingdom Hearts 2 GDR. Now, really quickly before I get started, some of you may know, but I've considered Metal Gear Solid kind of like my favorite series of all time. But I was a kid, when I first played it. I played it in 1998, 99, whatever it was, on the PS1. I think it's the only game I've ever owned that was like, what was it, like 2 discs, like the big case. I played that game a lot, and though I didn't play all of them, I've played a good handful of them. I've played 1, I've played 2, Sons of Liberty, I've played Snake Eater, and Guns of the Patriots, but I've never played 5, or the side stuff. I think Peace Walker, I don't exactly know what it is. I think it's the PSP one? But I could be confusing that with another game. I know there is a PSP game. I will look that up in just a second. But I've never played Peace Walker. So I don't know where in the timeline it is. I'm much older now. I know that these games are like a really complex timeline. And it's just kind of like all over the place. And like who's Snake? Who's like, there's so many snakes. So I'm coming into this video with a little bit of bias. But I also have no idea what to expect as far as the music. Because Metal Gear Solid music is kind of all over the place. It's very intense and dramatic. But also it has a very like a sweet side in the composition. I don't know who the composer is, so I'm kind of excited for this, and I don't know what to expect. But this is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. This is the main theme, and I'll look up some info like who's the composer and all that, and if it's the one I'm thinking about. I'm excited for this. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Always heard about this game, but now I get to finally hear it. Let's go. Look it up in the meantime. How exciting. He's got 3 rockets on him. LMG. He's just full of ammunition. Why do I feel nostalgic even though I've never played it? Whoa. Fluctuating intensity. There's that sound. Oh man, this makes me so happy because it's just like I never really expected before I started doing this series of video game music to have like Metal Gear on here. But it makes sense because I haven't heard them all. So whenever I get to experience Metal Gear Solid, it's like we're talking my childhood here, you know what I mean? Fun fact, a lot of people may not know this, but if you've ever seen this tattoo on my arm, that is the lyrics to The Best Is Yet to Come, otherwise known as the main theme from Metal Gear Solid 1. The credits, the intro theme and the credits theme right here. So it's yeah, it's a little important to me, right? I think I'll talk about the song in just a minute, but I really want you to like understand like one of the reasons that I'm into games at all is because of this. I should revisit the Metal Gear series now that I'm older and I understand more of like the political world and all that. I was like 10 years old when I experienced this, so it's like I was like, ooh, cool, shoot guy and stealth. It would introduce me to stealth. Let's talk about the Metal Gear series and me for a bit. Up until that point, like games for me were, just games. They were just games. Metal Gear Solid was the first time I think I went from like a boy to like a teenager, if that makes any sense. Like I was like, oh, these are serious things. This felt very real, like it could very much happen, and it felt like I was playing through a movie. Now, I'm sure Hideo Kojima would have loved for me to hear that because now growing up and seeing what he's done with games and he's still around, now I know he's like a movie buff and, like, so it totally makes sense. But, for my little PlayStation 1 mind, that was a lot. That was a lot. Games weren't like that for me. They were just games. Either like little fighting games or just like little just things here and there, a little spinning blue guy. Now we have like, oh, hide behind this corner, knock, get his attention, walk around him. Do I want to leave footprints? Do I want to crawl around? Do I want to avoid the cameras? All these things that like, like it was just all new experiences, and then the storytelling and trying to. This is one of those games where I think it was the first time. It could be I don't know, but I'm guessing one of the first times I replayed a game. I never thought of games like that before. I just played them and then that was it. But I replayed it because I wanted to like experience the story again, knowing what I knew that time. Now that I completed it, like spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 1. If you've never played it, stop listening now. So now, starting now. Knowing about like Master Miller, so I wanted to, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to go back to playing it, and every time I heard Master Miller, I was like, you bastard. Like I knew it, Well, I didn't know at the time, but I was like, I know who you are, that kind of thing. And just little things like that, and I never experienced that before. And that's why all these little things make me appreciate the game and why I ended up calling it my favorite series. Now, I don't want like the hardcore Metal Gear fans to be like, well, how can it be your favorite if you don't know? Like, I haven't kept up with the series at all. I just played them and didn't really pay attention to them, really. Like I did, but like the story is a little complex. It is, there's a lot of time skips, there's cloning. It's not the easiest story to grasp onto. Like I said, that's why if I revisit it now, I can probably like get it a little more because I'm older now. But anyways, so that's my infatuation with Metal Gear and Snake and Otacon and all that. And this is just a title that I've always heard about, but never picked it up. But I pulled it up here. And yes, this is the PSP one I was thinking about. 9.5 out of 10. I don't know what I looked up this for. I guess I just wanted to see if it was the PSP game. It was 2010. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't want to like spoil it myself. I'm guessing. God, I don't know. With Metal Gear, you never know. It could be a prequel. It could be like 100 years ago. Who knows? But either way, the sound is there. It's a sound that made me nostalgic, even though I've never played this game. It has that feeling of that kind of like I don't know how to explain Metal Gear music. It's kind of like this orchestral thing with like an electronic pulse. You know, you have like these big volume swells and then like dun dun. You know, very dramatic. And I can only imagine that plays, since it's the main theme, I can only imagine that plays. Well, I got two things for that actually. The main thing I got was this has to play like at the very beginning as soon as you start the splash screen. There's maybe like an intro movie. That's what I got, or like a main menu. But also the latter half of the song where it gets very orchestral. I have a feeling that because I've experience with it, I have a feeling that that motif gets used later in the game, like towards the end, and that is because I know that they've done that before. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. Anyways, we have another song to go to. That song was great though. It was very it came in and out, you know, it was just right away. But it's the sound I know. And fun fact, Metal Gear Solid music is, well, I don't know if it's a fact, but it's definitely a, let's call it like a pseudo fact. I don't know if anything else has done this, but it's the only soundtrack that's made me cry. And I'm trying to think if anything else has made me like tear up a bit. I have to think about that. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid is important to me. Anyways, we resume. Look at that screen right there. This song has two titles, I think. Let me see. It was known by two things. It's Love, Deterrence, and in Japanese it has a Koi no Yoku Shiryoku. Okay. And then it says Paz Ortega. I don't know if that's the composer or something. Anyways, this is more Peace Walker. This is Love, Deterrence. Kojima Productions. Alright. Gets a little intro. It's like we're playing the game. Pause. So I'm guessing this is a character. Footage? Uh-oh. Spoilers? It's okay, I won't remember this anyways. Copyright. Look at those PSP graphics. Oh, she's singing. Spanish guitar. You know how rare it is to get footage on this channel? Is that a saxophone I heard? Kojima. This is Metal Gear Solid. Is that Meryl? Otacon! I recognize him anywhere. What the heck? Wait, what's all this stuff? Maxi single, Heaven's Divide. Wait, what? What is the name of the song? Okay, that was a lot to take in. So let's just go into this really funny realm here. Let's just make a scenario here. Let's say that you are watching this video and this is your first experience with Metal Gear Solid. You're like, I've always heard about this game. I want to check it out. Let's see what Jesse's checking out. You're probably very confused right now. So am I. I mean, first of all, where do I even start with this? I think the main thing I want to say here is Hideo Kojima is a very strange, unique individual with, like, if he thinks it up, he's going to put it in type of thing, you know? Like, strange fella. But that's kind of like the visionary that he is. Like, people respect this guy because of these weird thoughts, you know? And it's because of stuff like this, I guess. Like, I would have never guessed that would be in a Metal Gear Solid game. But it makes sense, you know? It just kind of makes sense. I think both because of him and like just like Japan cultures with video games. Just, I feel like this isn't weird at all for like Japanese people, and then over here on the West, it isn't weird at all for people that know Hideo Kojima. Like, there's a part of me that's like, but there's a larger part of my brain that's also like, yeah, I get it, you know? Like, why is it there? Why not? Why wouldn't it be there, you know? Like, yes, it's a very serious game, but I guess I just have to play the game to understand. So I'm not gonna like really try to guess what's going on. I can only just assume this is a character in the game, and for some reason she's singing. And I can already see that when songs sound like that, like when they sound like extremely like anime, it's almost like a guaranteed copyright on my channel, which is not a bad thing. It's just a copyright claim. Happens all the time. But I'm getting the feeling that this song exists outside of this game too. It's kind of 50-50. Like, it could be very much just for Peace Walker, or they have this in their, like, this is like a regular normal music artist at the time and has that as part of one of their albums. I don't know what Peace Walker is, as I said, but now it's even more confusing. I was vaguely looking at the footage because I never, like I said, I never know if I'm ever going to experience these games again. I'm sure I will. Like I said, I still have to play 5, and I don't remember many of the details from all of them. I just have like a vague understanding of like the Patriots and, you know, all the descendants of all that. You know, I don't want to get into too much detail, but like, it's a very vague understanding. I should revisit it sometime. So that's why I kind of just avoided it. But I don't know. You know, I'm excited to have Metal Gear here. Like, it's Metal Gear, one of the games that like shaped me as a person. Do you know how many times I played Metal Gear Solid 1? Like I said, I replayed it. I played that game like over 10 times. Now that may not seem like a lot. That's a long game. For a kid, that's a long game, especially 10 times. And you want to know why I played it 10 times? Because back then, when the internet wasn't really a thing and there was still like hearsay, I remember this. This is like a core memory. People would say, and I never found out if this is true or not. I'm guessing it's not. But I don't know if anyone knows this, but people would say that if you beat the original Metal Gear Solid like 10 times, you would get Vulcan Raven's minigun. I will never forget that because damn, did I really want that minigun as a kid. Never happened though. So that kind of disappointed me. But I became very familiar with 1. You know. Also, 1 was the first time that I experienced, again, no spoilers, but it was the first time I experienced like how do I explain this without vague as possible? It's the first time I experienced a let's just say sadness. Yeah, I'll just keep it very yeah. But yeah, like I said, MGS. I think that's why I call it my favorite. Right? It's not that it's held up definitely, but I'm talking about, you know how people say like their favorite things are from like their childhood because it's their bias. But as you grow older, like you kind of grow out of things, and like right now, for example, you know, I've called FF7 Rebirth like my new favorite because there's so much things to do and, you know, all this stuff. But I didn't grow up with the original FF7. But I just like that game a lot and the battle system and everything. But when I say MGS is like my favorite, I think it's because it like really developed my brain at the time. All these new experiences, character development, the length of it, the movie, the dialogue, the music, the credit scene, which is like makes me bawl like a kid. The just all these things, you know, all these things that make me really just appreciate video games for what they are. It's a big deal, and it still is. So, anyways, don't know what Peace Walker is, but I do know now that it is that one game that I was thinking of the PSP. And by the sounds of the rating, it might be one of those like must-play PSP games. So, anyways, yeah, it's nice to go back in time, kind of, and revisit Metal Gear Solid. Anytime it's mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's that one thing that's tattooed on me forever. By the way, that's my favorite video game song of all time. People have asked me, like, my favorite soundtracks and stuff, but my favorite song of all time from video games is The Best Is Yet to Come from Metal Gear Solid 1. Yep. You know what's funny? Just before I get out of here, there was the longest. Like I want to share this with you guys because I think it's extremely relevant, but also that it's kind of silly looking back on it. Sorry, I'm like playing with my hair tie because I'm distracted. But when I got this, I've had this forever now. Got this around like 20 years old. It's in Gaelic, right? So you can't even read it unless you read Gaelic. But when I got it, very early on, I said to myself, I'm like, I'm not going to tell people what this is, like what it means, because you know people are going to ask. It's just right there on display, like, hey, what does it say? What does that mean? And I just didn't want to feel like explaining it every time, like, you know what I mean? Like tattoos are very personal, and you don't want to just be like, oh, well, you know, I didn't want to explain this is from a really cool video game, and you have to understand the context, and you know, it's just like, so for the longest time, I did not tell people. And I made it sound very mysterious. I'm like, I don't tell people what it means. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said only like a few select people know, and that's it. So it kind of felt like very like exclusive. Not that anyone cared, but it was a mixture of I didn't want to say it, not from embarrassment, but I didn't feel like explaining it all the time. But also I kind of wanted it to just be like this internal me thing that I can just have. But, you know, it wasn't like a secret. So once I started doing these, I started telling more and more people. And now everyone here knows. Well, now you know because it's relevant. You know, it's something I can share and we can all relate to it. You may not have it tattooed on you, but video game music is a big deal. And even before I did the auditorium and all that, you know, it was always a big deal. And it's like a nice reminder, right? It's kind of come full circle, and that's why if you ever watch the video of me checking out The Best Is Yet to Come here on this channel, it's the only video where I'm crying. So, and I left that up, which is crazy because I never would have ever left that up. But it really is, if you play the game, it's a really like full circle moment for me, where the song lyrics, "The best is yet to come," you know, remember the good times, and you know, it's really relevant. So that's why it's a very important thing. So anything Metal Gear Solid, I'm always gonna be like pretty biased towards, even if I'm confused as hell. Because it's just a really special series to me, and I don't know. Hopefully, it just continues, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure like Konami's. I don't know the whole like logistics behind it, but it's like it might be done. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for sharing that with me, Tetsujin and Biosleeve. Always good times. And let me know if you play this game. Let me know if this is your first time experiencing Metal Gear Solid, because that's the only song that ever sounds like that I've heard. So, thank you to everyone here. Thanks to you for watching and making that full circle moment a thing. Video game music is very special, and it's because of games like this and songs like this. So until next time, everyone, my name is Jesse. Peace. Walker, peace.